All right. So, look at all around. We've got red, white, and blue, right? What does that mean, though? What is it? Freedom? Freedom? Freedom from what?
Tyranny.
Tyranny. Freedom. Giving us our God-given rights from those men that oppress us when they want to oppose their laws and unjust laws on us as a country. Back then it was King George III that was opposing these laws on our colonies. So the Declaration of Independence is a statement that was adopted by the Second Continental Congress, a meeting at the Pennsylvania State House, also known as, anyone? Independence Hall, yes. Thank you, David. Very good. And that was in Philadelphia, of course, like I said, Pennsylvania State House, makes sense, right? And this is on July 4th, 1776. So I will read the introduction, the preamble, and then get into the denunciation of these atrocities of King George III. The introduction asserts, as a matter of natural law, the ability of a people to assume a political independence. These people are asserting their rights to deny this tyrannical state. In the introduction, it's acknowledging that the grounds for this independence that they are claiming must be reasonable, and so it ought to be explained. So, in Congress, July 4, 1776, the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. When, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitled it. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. So, next, the preamble, which outlines a general philosophy of government that justifies the revolution when a government harms those natural rights. This is probably the most famous portion, the most famous sentence out of the Declaration. Some may argue that's not correct, but I think we've all heard these next words. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses, usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism. It is their right, it is their duty, to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. And after that, they go into these atrocities that King George III has laid upon these people. And I would suggest that you go ahead and just look up the Declaration for all these things that he had done, all of these charges that they are bringing against him. And you will see that they had no other choice. It was their duty to do so. So, we have the section that is the finishing case for their independence. And these conditions that justified that the revolution has been shown while they were arguing those points, while they were arguing against what he was bringing to the colonies, these atrocities. And so they say, "Nor have we been wanting in attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our emigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity, and we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations." I always have trouble with that word. Sorry. "Which would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and consanguinity. We must, therefore, acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation, and hold them, as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, in peace, friends." And so we have the signatures of all these men that have laid their lives out there, who, at the risk of death, have sworn to uphold these truths. So please consider this as we celebrate, as we eat our cake, eat our awesome Subway, or these things that our country is built upon. And let us go forth, giving glory to God, the one who gives us these rights. Thank you.
Woo!
Thank you.
Thanks, Edward.
I don't know if it stopped.
All right,
I keep hitting stop, but it won't stop.
Stop it.